For an Israeli perspective on the way the military operation is playing out, we've reached Einat Wilf. She is senior fellow with the Jewish People Policy Institute and a former member of the Foreign Affairs and Defense Committee in the Knesset. And we reached her in Tel Aviv this morning. Hello.
Hello.
Look, I want to ask you to comment on Israeli policy, but before we do that, can I ask you about the situation in Israel for everyday people? Today, a gas station was hit, and there are reports of one person critically injured. How is the conflict affecting people in their everyday lives?
You could describe the situation right now as very tense. Essentially, the entire state of Israel is under indiscriminate rocket fire, which is aimed at civilians. It's not aimed at any military targets. We're not seeing a military operation waged by Hamas. It is against civilians, and it is affecting the entire country all the way up north. And now it seems that Lebanon is also joining in. Obviously, people are staying close to the shelters. I'm staying with my children at home, close to the shelter, so that we can get there quickly. People are not taking their children to schools, to kindergartens, not even going to work. And activity on the streets is substantially lower. There is an attitude generally of a stiff upper lip, trying to take it in stride, trying to continue as much as possible life as usual, but it is becoming increasingly difficult.
Do you support, Einat Wilf, the operation, the military operation that the Israeli Defense Force has launched against Gaza?
The sense is mostly of what choice do we have? Are we happy about it? No. Is there any sense that people welcome it? No. But the sense is, what choice do we have? I mean, civilians are being attacked. Even the man from Human Rights Watch said clearly that Hamas, black and white, there's even no doubt, no questioning, black on white is committing a war crime. It's intentionally targeting civilians. The fact that it has failed to kill Israelis to date has nothing to do with them. It is in spite of them. It has everything to do with Israel investing in protective technology, in Israelis behaving responsibly and going to the shelters and not serving as human shields. But basically all of us are under attack. So the sense is, whatever needs to be done to restore the calm, we will support. But you quoted the Secretary General of the United Nations. You did not say the end of what he said, which is the escalation is preventable through Hamas stopping to fire the rockets. He clearly said, and it's known, as soon as Hamas will stop firing its rockets at Israeli civilians, there will be immediate de-escalation. It's also evident that this government and this prime minister have been incredibly reluctant to go on this operation. And the goal is quite simple: the restoration of calm. As soon as Hamas stops launching rockets at Israeli civilians, calm will be restored.
The targeting of homes keeps coming up as a serious concern. You heard Bill Van Esveld from Human Rights Watch there. I mentioned the the United Nations top human rights official, Navi Pillay, earlier today, saying she has reports that raise serious doubts about whether the Israeli strikes have been in accordance with international human rights law. And that is that targeting of homes. And we're seeing around 100 dead, half of them women and children. Do you think that has gone too far?
Israel is taking incredible measures, remarkable measures, not taken by any military in the world under circumstances that are even much less critical than the Israeli civilians are facing, in order to warn civilians, in order to let people know that an installation, a home, will be targeted. I mean, these are not just homes in the way we think about it. These are essentially the bases from which the heads of Hamas operate. Hamas is not a military of a proper state. It is a terrorist organization. Its heads right now are underground in bunkers, but they work from their homes. They don't have separate military installations. So for all intents and purposes, these are also their military headquarters. And families and civilians are being used as human shields. Israel is doing everything, aborting repeated strikes. It's aborting again and again and again as soon as it becomes clear that there are civilians in place. Sometimes mistakes are made. This is not a violation of crimes. It is a tragedy, and any human life lost is one too many.
Einat Wilf, a crucial question, and we are starting to run a little bit short on time, but crucial question. Is the operation working? Because the missiles and the rockets keep coming, and now it looks like another front has opened in the north of the country. Could this escalation have been a big mistake?
Again, it's a question of what choice did we have. For days, this government and this prime minister did nothing. They were criticized even by people from the right for doing nothing, but they clearly did not want to go into this operation.
But could this
And
be making it worse?
for several days, our towns were under rocket attacks. It might be getting worse for the short term, but it is sending an important message that the people of Israel will stand by all our citizens. We will not tolerate no government, no country in the world
Uh,
tolerate attacks on citizens. And time will tell, but in the past, when Israel made its stance clear, Hamas backed off and we had quiet, at least some.
And I'm afraid we're losing that line to Tel Aviv, and we're going to have to end it there. But Einat Wilf, I want to thank you very much for joining us. Einat Wilf, who's a senior fellow with the Jewish People Policy Institute and a former member of the Foreign Affairs and Defense Committee in the Knesset. And our apologies for the quality of that line. She spoke to us from Tel Aviv.